Unit 19, Travel and Tourism. This is from Language and Development of Class 11, Compulsory English. So before starting the unit, I would like to discuss the quote of Robert Frost and a few questions given there under before you read section. Okay, there is a quote by Robert Frost, a very well-known English poet. Two roads diverge in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by. So what does this quote mean? Two roads diverge in a wood. The poet or the speaker is in the wood. There are two roads. They show different paths. And the speaker chose that road which was less traveled by, which was less explored by, which was less visited by, which was perhaps difficult one, coarse one, rough one, worn one, and the speaker chose that one. So this is the nature of human beings. Human beings always want to explore something new, which is unknown to other people. They want to find out something new. They want to experience something adventurous. So this quote is somehow related with that. Actually, this quote is taken from his well-known poem, The Road Not Taken. The Road Not Taken. It comes from the last stanza. I shall be telling this with a sigh, somewhere edges and edges hence. Two roads diverge in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference. So he took the that road which was less traveled by, and that made the difference. Then he felt the difference, and he found something different there. So this is what we human beings by nature, we expect something like that, okay, when we go for visiting new places. So here we have an essay, Discovering West Nepal, the Wild Frontier. Discovering West Nepal. From the topic also we can understand what the essay is going to be about. This essay is going to deal the western part of Nepal, the wild frontier. So this is actually a travelogue. So before reading this travelogue, let's discuss some questions given here. Discuss these questions with your partner. Have you ever visited Western Nepal? Describe your experience. So far as it is concerned to me, actually I have not visited far western and mid-western part of Nepal. Actually, I have gone up to Lumbini सम्म म पुगेको छु. I have visited Palpa, Tansen, let's say Pohora, Gorkha, something like that. So, but I haven't gone beyond that. So I hope many students from this class might have gone there, might have visited Nepalganj, Bardia, Rara, Bogu, Jumla as well. Okay, so I have planned to go there in future. And do you like traveling? Why do people travel? Are you traveling? Everybody loves traveling. Everybody loves enjoying new, beautiful sights, beautiful places. And people travel for different purposes. Mainly, the first purpose of the people to travel is to enjoy the beauty of the nature. To get pleasure, people travel. Some people travel for job purpose also, study purpose as well. Some travel for business, seminars, programs, and so on. So do you know the name of this temple? Where is it located? So this temple is of Muktinath temple that lies in Mustang district. All of you knows that Mustang, Manang, that lies in the upper part of Himalayan region. Okay, so यिनीहरूलाई चाहिँ हिमाल पारीको जिल्ला पनि भनेर भनिन्छ मुस्ताङ मनाङ. यिनीहरू चाहिँ अब ठ्याक्कै हिमाल भन्दा पनि उता पर पर्ने कारणले यो Muktinath is very well-known religious place. Many people these days go there. Muktinath आजकल त एकदमै रोडबाट पनि एक्सेस छ, एयर ट्रान्सपोर्टबाट पनि एक्सेस छ. Unfortunately, I haven't been there. म चाहिँ जान पाएको छैन अहिलेसम्म. Okay, now let's begin the essay. Now read the following travelogue by the Philippine freelance writer Megan Lim. This is a travelogue. एउटा कुनै ठाउँ घुमेर त्यो ठाउँको बारेमा कसैले लेख्छ भने त्यसलाई हामी travelogue भन्छ. यो चाहिँ एउटा फिलिपिन फ्रिलान्स राइटर मेगन लियोङले लेखेको ट्राभलग हो. Her 5-week adventurous experiences of visiting Western Nepal. वेस्टर्न नेपालमा 5 हप्ता घुम्ने क्रममा चाहिँ उसले भोगेका विभिन्न अनुभवहरूलाई यो एसेमा चाहिँ व्यक्त गरेको छ. I will go through the essay very quickly. Please try to follow me, try to grasp me what I'm trying to say. So what do you do when you get lost along your travels? यदि जाँदा जाँदै बाटोमा तपाईं हराउनु भयो भने के गर्नुहुन्छ? पक्कै पनि that is very what difficult situations. हैन, हराउँदाखेरि त अब चाहिँ हामी केही न केही कि फर्किनु पर्यो कि अगाडि बढ्नु पर्यो. अब के गर सायद कोही अब हामी मध्ये कोही अब फर्किन्थ्यो होला आधा बाटो अब गइसकेको छ अब अझ हराउनु भन्दा पनि फर्किनु बेटर भनेर फर्किन्थ्यो अथवा होइन अब हराए पनि केही छैन अगाडि बढ्दै जाऊँ लेट्स बी अप्टिमिस्टिक लेट्स बी होपफुल भन्दै अगाडि बढेर डेस्टिनेसनसम्म पुग्न सक्ने अवस्था पनि हुन सक्छ so it depends on up to you okay so along my 5-week walk in the western Himalayas of Nepal a colorful rooster heavy on pink feathers flopped its roseate plumes at me as though to say yes Videsh is real the flightless bird I stared at each other for a brief moment and I could have sworn it winked at me so I was just making my travel the speaker says that it was western Himalayas of Nepal so meanwhile on the way a rooster welcomed me एउटा rooster एउटा चरा एउटा चाहिँ जंगली कुखुरा भनौं जसले मलाई चाहिँ आफ्नो पखेटा हल्लाउँदै आफ्नो पखेटा शेक गर्दै फ्लफ गर्दै हैन त्यो रेडिश कलरको पखेटा देखाउँदै मलाई वेलकम गर्यो मलाई त्यो I felt that मलाई विदेशी भनेको विदेशी is Nepali term that the writer has used here there are several Nepali terms Nepali words that have been used in this essay that perhaps he learned from Nepalese guides or the people or the locals so Videshi is real so when she saw that very rooster she just supposed that the rooster was winking at her the rooster ले चाहिँ आहा झिम्काको उसँग कम्युनिकेट गरेकोलाई फिल हुन्छ अब यहाँ एउटा क्वेशन छ how did the author feel when she saw colorful rooster in the western Himalayas his answer is the author felt very glad एकदमै उलाई चाहिँ अब त्यो देख्नु त्यो चराले चाहिँ मलाई विदेशी भनेको हो भन्नु अथवा आँखा झिम्कायो भन्ने जुन फिल आउँछ नि त्यो फिल भनेको she felt very glad excited and amazing when she saw a colorful rooster in the western Himalayas by this point my sanity had already gone hazy so actually I felt so blurred unlike the clear blue skies above the high passes of Dolpa त्यो डोल्पाको हाई पासमा ती पासमा ब्लू क्लियर स्काई भए तापनि मलाई यो ब्युटी अफ नेचरले त्यो एक्टिभिटी अफ द रूस्टरले I felt hazy I felt blurred further along the trail was a track path जुन बाटो patches of pink grass and purple flora sprinkled the ground त्यहाँ भुइँभरि पर्पल कलरको घाँसहरू वनस्पतिहरू चाहिँ पुरा फैलिएको थियो त्यो कति राम्रो कति ब्युटिफुल थियो sun dried shrubs घामले सुकेका ती झाडीहरू हैन feel the crisp Himalayan air with the familiar sweetness of camelline त्यो camelline फूलको ती फूलहरू हिमालको हावा त्यो चिसो हावा यो सबै कुराको मिश्रण actually it was really wonderful stone houses held themselves together on a rock त्यो चट्टान मुनि बनाएका ढुङ्गाका घरहरू मान्छेका घरहरू above river नदी माथि बनाएका घरहरू looking too crumbly हेर्दाखेरि these houses looked so crumbly so breakable to live in it was so difficult we felt that but the inhabitants didn't seem to mind तर त्यहाँ बस्ने मान्छेहरूले त्यस्तो घर हुँदैमा they didn't seem to mind उनीहरुलाई माइन्ड गरे जस्तो त्यस्तो नराम्रो लागे जस्तो केही देखिनु थिएन अब एक क्वेशन छ क्वेशन नम्बर 2 ले के भन्छ how does she describe the house on the trails of western Nepal त्यो ट्रेल्स बाटोमा भेटेका घरलाई उले कसरी डिस्क्राइब गर्छ भन्ने क्वेशन छ अब यही हो the houses were made of stone they were built together under a rock they were above river they looked so breakable to live in but the inhabitants but the dwellers living in that house didn't seem to mind that's the answer I wonder how much more oddity hides and flourishes in West Nepal so I wondered कति अनौठा कुराहरु छन् कति राम्रा कुराहरु छन् आश्चर्यजनक कुराहरु छन् हैन यो वेस्टर्न नेपालमा she went on discovering exploring all these things I wasn't supposed to be these reasons but as with any good story a happy accident would see me walking through the country's unknown trails actually म यहाँ आउने वाला थिएन यसमा एउटा केही स्टोरी छ केही हिडन स्टोरी छ त्यो जुन कारणले गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ म यो ठाउँ घुम्न आइपुगे Having been living on the road as a traveler for 4 years now and visiting Nepal for the third time it was her third time to visit Nepal नेपालमा तेस्रो पल्ट चाहिँ राइटर आएको थियो I wanted to push the envelope and experience places few tourists go म यस्तो ठाउँ घुम्न चाहन्थे जहाँ चाहिँ टुरिस्टहरु चाहिँ कम मात्रै टुरिस्टहरु पुगेका ठाउँ म हेर्न चाहन्थे घुम्न चाहन्थे अनुभव गर्न चाहन्थे एक्सप्लोर गर्न चाहन्थे एन्भेलप गर्न चाहन्थे so I chose the Dhaulagiri circuit The day I started my walk, I asked bus drivers in Beni to point me towards the direction of तातो पानी. मैले धौलागिरी सर्किट चुज गरेँ र मैले बस ड्राइभरलाई बेनीमा भने कि मलाई तातो पानीको डिरेक्सनतिर मलाई पुर्याइदिनुस्. As it were, there are two तातो पानी, one on the east along Annapurna circuit, one on west along the धौलागिरी circuit. There are two तातो पानी. एउटा चाहिँ अन्नपूर्ण सर्किटमा पर्छ, अर्को धौलागिरी सर्किटमा पर्छ. But actually, I was going towards धौलागिरी circuit. I would reach that place that was not expected or planned in the east, and I would learn too late that I was on the other side of where I wanted to be. My options would be to turn back or to swim in the pickle I was in. I took my map out and decided to walk up to Muktinath. I just planned to go up to Muktinath in a guest house in Lower Mustang. I met an Englishman walking the Great Himalayan Train. एउटा Englishman सँग मेरो भेट भयो जो चाहिँ त्यो हिमालबाट हिँडेर आइरहेको थियो. We exchanged stories of our cups of hot Roxy to warm our cold selves, and after looking at his map, I decided to make a pilgrimage to Rara Lake. मैले त्यो Englishmanसँग कम्युनिकेट गर्ने त्यहाँ मैले मौका पाएँ. I talked to him, Roxy खाँदै. अब त्यो प्राय हिमालतिर चाहिँ बडीलाई वार्म अप गर्नु पर्यो भने because of coldness, they drink alcohol. Roxy खाँदै मैले उसँग भएको म्याप हेरेँ र त्यो म्याप हेरेपछि I made decision to make journey, my pilgrimage to Rara Lake that lies in Mugu district, the biggest lake of Nepal. In Darbang, I stopped to resupply food and walk towards a village named 𝗖𝗹𝘀𝘀, 15 kilometers further as the crow flies. But we are talking about the largest mountains in this planet. त्यसपछि दरबाङमा अहिले चाहिँ खानेकुराहरू किने हैन, अब बाटोमा जे पनि भन्न सक्छ. I had to preserve all these things for myself. त्यसपछि म 15 किलोमिटरको डिस्टेन्स म चाहिँ अब हिँड्न थालेँ. So here we have a question here. Question number C. What does she mean when she says I walk towards a village 15 kilometers further as the crow flies? As the crow flies is the phrase. यसको meaning के हो भन्दाखेरि it means that she walked a long distance in a straight line. सीधा लाइन भन्दाखेरि लामो दूरी उनले घुम्यो हैन, जानु पर्यो घुम्नु पर्यो भनेको. It was a long day from one lush, one grass, one vegetation, green hill to another. I went माथि and तल हैन, हिमाल कहिले उकाली कहिले ओह्रालै, ups and downs. She had to go on like that. Through warm temperate forest. Temperate means neither hot nor cold forest. Under giant spider webs, over rapids, waterfalls, beside glassy waterholes, too tempting to swim in, if not for their stinging coldness. So I enjoyed everything else. कहिले माथि कहिले तल, कहिले माथि कहिले तल, त्यो चिसो न तातो, त्यो फरेस्टको बाटो, अनि बाटोभरि अब माकुराका जालोहरू, ती झरनाहरू हैन, कति राम्रो थियो, कति ब्युटिफुल थियो. I enjoyed all these things despite the coldness. In a scenic village named 𝗨मजुङ, a young couple welcomed me in their home where I stayed the night. 𝗨मजुङमा पुगेपछि मलाई एउटा young couple-ले चाहिँ वेलकम गर्यो, जहाँ मैले एक रात बिताएँ. In the morning, someone offered to give me a ride on his horse for a fee, but I decided to keep using my own legs. कसैले मलाई घोडा चढ्नलाई अफर गरे तर मैले घोडा चढिन. I just preferred to walk. So in 𝗏𝗀 I washed my clothes and myself by the river. त्यहाँ पुगेर नुहाई गरे मैले. The Didi is Nepali words here, who hosted me for the night called सुत्ने, जसले मलाई सुत्ने व्यवस्था गरिदियो, bedtime, literally to sleep. At 7 in the evening, there was no electricity, but there was a hole in the ceiling, and the bright stars lit the cold dark room up so beautifully that I didn't mind. हैन, त्यो सुत्ने ठाउँमा त्यो घरमा बिजुली थिएन, तर घरको छानामा पाल थियो, जुन पालबाट मैले आकाशको ताराहरू देखेँ हैन, त्यो ब्राइट, त्यो पनि that was really what beautiful moment experience for me. The next day, a 10-hour walk to ढोरपाटन had me marching until past sunset. I had to take my shoes off to make a river crossing. I knew that the slippery rocks and angry glacial water were going to be painful adventure. It was really difficult for me to walk for 10 hours to ढोरपाटन, isn't it? So a बहिनी crossed the river. बहिनी means sister, younger sister, crossed the river and took my bag. एउटा बहिनीले मलाई मेरो झोला बोकेर मलाई सहयोग गर्यो, नदीतिर सहयोग गर्यो. Made me wear her flip-flops. Flip-flops भनेको त्यो हिल नभएको तुनावाला चप्पललाई flip-flops भन्छ. उसको flip-flops मलाई दिएर मलाई खोला तर्न त्यो बहिनीले सहयोग गर्यो. Held me by the hand, मेरो हात समाएर, instructed me where exactly to place my feet, कहाँ टेक्ने त्यो देखाएर, and got me across. Her girlfriends were all cheering. उसका साथीहरू सबै हेरिरहेको थिए हैन, जब म खोला तर्ने बेलामा. I said my tourist classic, namaste. I hugged them all. and moved on. सबैलाई नमस्कार गर्दै अङ्गाला हाल्दै त्यसपछि हामी त्यहाँबाट अगाडि बढ्यौं. When finally I found a base for the night, I was soon joined by local politicians from Kathmandu and who were on an official trip. त्यहाँ चाहिँ एक ठाउँमा चाहिँ लोकल पोलिटिशियन्सहरुसँग पनि भेट भयो जो काठमाडौँबाट त्यहाँ आएको थिए. एउटा त्यहाँ चाहिँ त्यहाँ बस्नु त्यही अब त्यहाँ मैले रात बिताउनु पर्यो. The evening stretched as well. All danced in the dining room. Nepali music on full blast. Nepali संगीत बजाएर त्यहाँ सबै रमाए, झुमे, नाचे, and so did I. A village named Thankpur had only 2 houses. एउटा थाङपुर भन्ने जुन गाउँ छ जहाँ चाहिँ जम्मा 2टा मात्रै घर थियो है. अब यो क्वेशन छ एउटा describe the village Thankpur in brief. Thankpur village कस्तो थियो छोटोमा लेख भनेको छ. जम्मा 2टा मात्रै घर थियो. On the way there I had a mild heart attack as 3 large birds suddenly took flight from a tree next to the footpath. The हिँड्दै जाने क्रममा 3वटा ठुला चराहरु चाहिँ मेरो नजिकबाट उडेर जाने झन्नै मेरो हार्ट अट्याक भयो. I felt it was really what heartbreaking scene. Okay, it was really awesome moment for me. It was an arid region, it was dry region. I know that, with not much life visible in the periphery. वरिपरि त्यहाँ मान्छेको बस्ती पनि थिएन, एकदमै ड्राई ठाउँमा. त्यस ठाउँमा त्यत्रो चराहरु कसरी बाँच्यो होला? She began to imagine in that way. But these birds were large, shiny, rainbow colored. They were the national bird of Nepal, the Himalayan monal. And monal also love for us. That wasn't the last surprise for the day. The stars in Thankpur that evening were blinding. To Thankpur देखेका जुन ताराहरू आकाशमा, they were really blinding and the most brilliant I have ever seen this side of the globe. यति चम्किलो तारा मैले अहिलेसम्म देखेको थिएँ. त्यति चम्किलो के अब ड्राई भएर आकाशको पनि खुल्ला भएर the stars look so bright. यति bright brilliant stars त मैले यो ग्लोबमा यो धरतीमा देखेकै थिएँ. That was the experience of the writer. In 𝗨𝐻𝐴 I met a Welshman who has been to Nepal 9 times. 𝗨𝐻𝐴मा एउटा Welshmanसँग भेट भयो राइटरको जो नेपालमा 9 पल्ट आइसकेको थियो. I met him again in Dhule and we walked towards the Jangla Pass and to Dunai. Dhuleमा पनि भेट भयो उसलाई. फेरि Jangla Pass देखि दुनाईसम्म सँगै गयो उनीहरु. The distance between the 2 villages was so long that we decided to camp halfway through the trail. हामीले चाहिँ आधा बाटोमा चाहिँ क्याम्प गर्ने प्लान गर्यौं, डिसाइड गर्यौं किन एकदमै लामो त दूरी त्यो दुईटा गाउँको दूरी लामो थियो. I squeezed into Welshman's tiny summer tent and attempted to sleep on 4,500 meter altitude. र मैले चाहिँ त्यो Welshmanको चाहिँ टेन्ट भित्र गएर मैले सुत्ने प्रयास गरेँ. जुन चाहिँ अब चाहिँ 4,500 मिटर हाइट त्यो अल्टिट्युडमा चाहिँ जुन अब टेन्ट राखेको थियो. अब इमेजिन गर्नुस् कति चिसो थियो होला. We laughed at the fact that no one else was insane enough to be on that mountain on a cold November night. Further west into remote regions, school children led me to a village that sounded like Orta. स्कुलका बच्चाहरूले मलाई गाउँ देखाए हैन. अलि पर पुगेपछि just after Sarmi. The village is built on brown rocks, houses stacked together with open free fall decks. A family fed me, or a family मलाई खानेकुराको व्यवस्था गर्दै, sheltered me, बस्ने व्यवस्था गर्दै, walked with me, मसँगै हिँडे the day after to show me a shortcut, a snowy pass towards Jumla. Jumla कसरी पुग्ने छोटो बाटो देखाउन. They helped me a lot. They were really helpful, hospitable as well. I walked for 5 hours in the snow and a further 3 hours in cold winds. म 5 घण्टा हिउँमा हिँडे, 3 घण्टा चिसो हावामा हिँडे through ancient alpine forest and exposed mountain regions. त्यस्तो ठाउँमा. By the time I reached Jumla, जब म जुम्ला पुगे, I was ill with an unknown virus and a bad tummy. मलाई म बिरामी भयो. मलाई भाइरसले समायो अथवा त्यो bad tummy पेट दुख्ने समस्या आयो. An American I met at a hotel gave me medicine. एउटा अमेरिकनले मेडिसिन पनि दियो. The pani puri at a local eatery also helped me in my recovery. त्यहाँ पुगेर मैले पानी पुरी खाएँ र पानी पुरीले पनि मलाई त्यो अब चाहिँ समस्याबाट मुक्त हुन सहयोग गर्यो. So, here is a question. What happened when she reached Jumla and how was she relieved? Once I felt well enough to carry on, I started walking towards Rara. त्यसपछि म रारा तर्फ लागे through 𝗨𝐻𝐴 and then Bulbuli. In 𝗨𝐻𝐴 I was welcomed by Didi. 𝗨𝐻𝐴 पुगेपछि मलाई एउटा दिदीले वेलकम गर्नुभयो. Who was speaking the brains out of sheep's skull. She said if I wanted to wash myself, there is a bucket of water in the outhouse. त्यो दिदीले मलाई भन्नुभयो कि यदि तपाई यसो हातखुट्टा धुन चाहनुहुन्छ भने त्यहाँ बकेटमा पानी चाहिँ जानुस्. अब त्यहाँ आउट हाउसमा कोठेर भनेर दिदीले मलाई देखाउनु भयो. I checked it out and the water surface on the bucket was frozen. पानी यसो चेक गरेर गर्दा पानी त पुरा जमिरहेको छ हैन. Cracking it felt strangely satisfying and the pani underneath was surprisingly lukewarm. यसो त्यो मैले आइसलाई फुटाएर यसो पानी निकाल्दा पानी त फेरि आइस मुनिको पानी त ल्युकवार्म हल्का वार्म न्यानो पनि रहेछ। अब यहाँ क्वेसन छ एउटा क्वेसन नम्बर एफले भन्छ हाउ डज द अथर डिस्क्राइब द बकेट वाटर इन 𝗨𝗨𝐺। त्यो बकेट वाटर कस्तो थियो, हाउ डज सी डिस्क्राइब भन्ने क्वेसन छ। When the author reached 𝗨𝗨𝐺, a Didi welcomed her and offered a bucket of water in the outhouse. She checked it out and the water surface on the bucket was frozen. When she cracked it, she surprisingly found the water underneath the ice was slightly warm. One more day, I whispered to myself. I was excited for the last push, thinking it would be an easy final walk. Of course, it wasn't. अब एक दिन हिँड्नु पर्ने थियो म हैन, मैले सोचे अबको हिँडाइ त सजिलो होला, but actually it wasn't. To get to 𝗨𝗨 Lake, I decided to take shortcut and cross another pass. मैले छोटो बाटो रोजेँ। हामीले अगाडि पनि एउटा कोटेसन हामीले चाहिँ पढाएको थियौ नि हैन, दुईटा बाटो छ, कुन चाहिँ जुन बाटो चाहिँ कम एक्सप्लोर भएको छ, जुन बाटो चाहिँ लेस ट्राभल्ड बाइ पिपल छ, त्यो बाटो चाहिँ मैले रोजेँ भने जस्तै the writer in this visit also, she chose that place which was less traveled by the people. She chose the shortcut one. On the map, the trail to this pass was barely visible. The map ma चाहिँ यो pass यो बाटो visible पनि थिएन वास्तवमा. The suggested route is 25 kilometer walk. My chosen route was less than half of that. Oh boy. हैन, अब त्यो म्यापले भनेको रुट चाहिँ 25 किलोमिटर डिस्टेन्सको थियो। राइटर जुन रुट चुज गर्यो that was what shorter one, that was one just half or shorter than, अब लेस देन हाफ भनेको 25 को आधा 12 भन्दा नि कम किलोमिटर थियो। I walked through foot deep snow for hours. घण्टौंसम्म म हिउँमा हिँडे। My shoes and feet became wet and the sky was blue and the sun was bright. The views were overworldly. यति राम्रो त्यो भ्यूहरु देख्यो, ड्रीमी एकदमै हैन, एकदमै त्यसले तिरमिराउने खालको भ्यूजहरु थियो, giving me enough to be cheerful about. Once I had reached the pass, I was in for a shock. जब म पासमा पुगे म दङ्ग परे। The skinny cliff path was snowed in. त्यति चिप्लो त्यो पाथ बाटोहरु पनि पुरा के थियो, त्यहाँ चाहिँ एकदमै अब चाहिँ हिउँले भरेको थियो। There was steep drop of 300 meters. एकदमै 300 मिटर अग्लो त्यो ड्रप, त्यहाँबाट खस्यो भने त कहाँ पुग्यो। I was on top of 4,000 meter mountain. There was nothing to hold on. समाउने केही पनि थिएन, to but loose metamorphic rocks. मेटामर्फिक रक्सहरु थियो, जुन रक्स एकदम कमसल खालको त्यो रक समाउँदाखेरि अब हात खुस्क्यो भने त खुस्क्यो। Grabbing the wrong one could be fatal, but turning back meant walking more hours and in the dark. अब म त्यत्रो बाटो म हिँडिसके, त्यहाँबाट फर्किन सक्ने अवस्थामा पनि थिएन। फर्किनु भनेको फेरि पनि त्यो पनि बाटो अप्ठ्यारो बाटै थियो र अँध्यारो पनि हुन्थ्यो बाटोमा, त्यही भएर म फर्किन सकिन। यस्तो अवस्थामा पुगेँ। I could not return back. I could not come back. Without tent and food, that option was only slightly more dangerous than crossing an icy cliff. Tent बिना, खाना बिना त्यतिकै बस्नु झन् बढी डेन्जरस हुन्थ्यो। बरु त्यहाँबाट जानु नै मलाई बेटर लाग्यो। Without ice axe and crampons, अब बिना ice axe, बिना crampons, बिना त्यो चाहिँ हात हतियार बिनै म अब त्यो यात्रामा निस्केँ। मसँग चाहिँ रक क्लाइम्बिङ बुट पनि थिएन। I dug my heels and hands in the snow. हैन, मैले आफैले चाहिँ अब चाहिँ त्यो हिउँमा खोतल्दै मैले आफ्नो बाटो बनाएँ। One frozen movement at a little until I was on the other side. It was cold, but my adrenaline ran so high that I was sweating from the suspense. So यत्रो चिसो हुँदाखेरि मलाई चाहिँ के त चाहिँ पसिना आएको जस्तो मलाई फिल भइरहेको। I was feeling that. Okay, so imagine my relief once I have made it across all 4 cliffs crossings. यो सबै यत्रो सबै बाटो हिँडिसकेपछि मलाई मेरो कस्तो फिलिङ्स भएर तपाई इमेजिन गर्नुस्। And so I arrived at 𝗨𝗨 Lake, alive and well. त्यसपछि म 𝗨𝗨 Lake मा आइपुगे, जुन एकदमै ब्युटिफुल त्यो फ्रेश वाटर लेक, the biggest fresh water lake in Nepal. Himalaya was there, glistening in its dark blue glory. त्यहाँ चम्किलो हिमाल देखिन्थ्यो हैन, waiting for my arrival. मलाई पर्खिरहेको फिल हुन्थ्यो। The magnificent sky-crapping pine trees decorated the ground with giant pine cones. त्यहाँ चाहिँ भयंकर त्यो sky-crapping pine treeहरु हैन, त्यो पाइन का रुखहरु decorated with the ground with giant pine cones. The pine cone ले decorate गरेको beautiful देखिन्थ्यो के। Hoots भनेको water birdsहरु glided over the crystal clear water. त्यो सफा पानीमा चाहिँ कुट्सहरु चराहरु पुरा gliding, sleeping गरिरहेको थियो, चिप्लिरहेको थियो हैन। Occasionally diving under to disappear and resurface again. त्यो पानीमा डुब्ने फेरि निस्किने डुब्ने निस्किने यस्तो गरिरहेको थियो। क्वेशन छ, how was 𝗨𝗨 Lake on the day she reached there? 𝗨𝗨 Lake कस्तो थियो? हामीले यही लेख्दा हुन्छ। White Peaks said hello from a distance. White Peaks is hello right feel. There were only 2 hotels in the national park, at least on the lake side. It's strange to think that 𝐓𝐴 Lake in Pokhara was once this quiet. Through a 5-week-long walk, I have covered a distance that totals up to 25% of the Nepal Himalaya via the lower Great Himalaya Trail. मैले झन्डै 25% चाहिँ हिमालयन पार्ट जुन छ नेपालको त्यो भूभाग चाहिँ म हिँडेछु 5 हप्तासम्म, along with some cool detours. If I ever thought I knew Nepal and its cultures, the West shook that knowing. By and large, I would describe what I witnessed and experienced as a medieval and raw. The wild Western region is a step or 2 back in time when we knew how to survive with our primal instinct, human intuitions, and oneness with the natures. So this is what the essay. Now let's go to the exercise. Okay, let's go to the exercise. We have ways with words. Find the words from the text which mean the following. So we have to find the words of the following meanings. So let me write here. Let me note it. Became fuller and softer by shaking. What's the meaning for this? कुनै कुरा चाहिँ फुल हुनु बाइ पखेटा हल्लाएर फुल हुनु यसलाई चाहिँ के भन्छ फ्लप हुन्छ FLUFFABD फ्लप भयो यसको आन्सर चाहिँ साउन्ड मेन्टल हेल्थ राम्रो मेन्टल हेल्थ के भन्छ स्यानिटी भन्छ अघि नै प्यासेजमा आएको थियो कन्सिस्टिङ अफ अर इजिली ब्रेकिङ इन्टु स्मल पिसेस सानो टुक्रामा ब्रेक हुनुलाई हामी के भन्छौँ क्रम्ली CRUMBLY क्रम्ली neither very hot nor very cold not चाहिँ चिसो न तातो यो टेम्परेट भयो TEMPERATE temperate land that does not have enough water to support the growth of plants जहाँ चाहिँ पर्याप्त पानी नभएको ठाउँलाई के भन्छ एरिड रिजन भन्छ एरिड रिजन only slightly warm हल्का मात्रै वार्म हुनलाई हामी के भन्छ lukewarm LUKEWARM okay so this is what vocabulary. Now find the meanings of the following words in an English dictionary. Write their word classes and use them in your sentences. Your word meaning लेख्ने त्यसपछि sentence बनाउने यो सबैले गरेको चाहिँ है जस्तै हैजी एउटा adjective हो यसको meaning not clear misty foggy भन्ने हुन्छ अब एउटा sentence को रूपमा चाहिँ it was a beautiful day but quite hazy. Frontier भन्ने word चाहिँ noun हो यसको meaning चाहिँ a line that separates two countries the country separate गर्ने border लाई के भन्छ frontier भन्छ. International crime knows no frontiers. Lost भन्ने word adjective भयो यसको अर्थ चाहिँ covered in healthy grass अथवा plants भन्ने हुन्छ. My garden is lush and green. Flip flops भनेको अब noun भयो no heel strap sandal heel नभएको त्यो तुनावाला चप्पललाई flip flops भन्छ. I wore a pair of flip flops while walking through the mountain. अब altitude भनेको noun भइहाल्यो height above sea level. The plane flew at an altitude of 20,000 feet. Fatal भनेको adjective भयो एकदम causing death dangerous भन्ने अर्थ हुन्छ. There was a fatal accident on the motorway. So, okay, now let me clear it all out. Now let's go to next. One more left here. Magnificent, adjective. Meaning is very impressive. She looked magnificent in her wedding dress. So this is what the answer. Okay, make a list of Nepali words using the text and write their English equivalents. Nepali words text. The list will go on Didi Nepali word. Its meaning is elder sister. Testi अर्को त्यहाँ word छ विदेशी भन्ने word छ. What is the meaning विदेशी? विदेशीको meaning के हुन्छ? Foreigner हुन्छ. FOREIGNER foreigner भयो. त्यसपछि Roxy भनेको all girl भयो चाहिँ. Okay. Next माथि भनेको अब above हैन तल भनेको अब down दिदी भनेको elder sister भइहाल्यो. त्यसपछि बहिनी भनेको younger sister. त्यसपछि सुत्ने भनेको अब sleep. नमस्ते अब नेपाली greeting भयो चाहिँ. पानीपुरी भनेको अब यो चाहिँ अब food or dish भयो. यो dish को नाम भयो. ओके यसरी हामीले चाहिँ meaning लिन सक्छौं. यसलाई पनि मैले क्लोज गर्दिए. Now let's go to next slide. Okay, practice saying these words with consonant clusters. त्यसपछि गएर यो चाहिँ प्र्याक्टिस गर्नु भने जस्तो अब स्किन यहाँ चाहिँ साउन्ड आयो क र स को साउन्ड मिश्रण आयो स्किन स्कुल स्किल स्केल स्कर्ट स्केयर स्कार्फ स्कल स्किप स्की त्यसपछि यो स र प साउन्ड आउने स्पट स्पिड स्पोर्ट स्पार्क स्पीच स्पीक स्पेस स्पेन स्पेशल स्पुन त्यसपछि स र ट साउन्ड आउने स्टार स्टुपिड स्टिल स्टक स्टाफ स्टोन स्टेप stand, stain, study. So these are the words that you have to practice by pronouncing. Okay, so we have already finished comprehension section. Okay, answer these questions you discussed already. I'm not going to discuss these questions. Critical thinking or writing, I will just discuss the questions. It is said that traveling a place equals to reading 3 books. Do you agree or disagree? Obviously, I agree. A picture equal to 1,000 words. A picture worth 1,000 words. A picture to 1,000 शब्द बराबर हुन्छ भने यो त रियल अब आफैले लाइभली एक्सपिरियन्स गरेर कुनै ठाउँ घुम्नु त that's really what more than reading 3 books. आफ्नो आँखाले हेर्नु भोग्नु एक्सपिरियन्स गर्नु that is really what reading more than 3 books. Really एकदमै यो चाहिँ यो कुरामा हामी सहमत छौं. यसलाई एक्सप्लेन गरेर प्याराग्राफमा लेख्ने. The author spent 5-week long walk along the Western Himalayas. Do you think it was adventurous? Why? पक्कै पनि it was adventurous. हाम्रो त्यसै पनि नेपालको भूगोल बनावट के छ, जियोग्राफी के छ भने एकदमै डिफिकल्ट छ, कम्प्लेक्स है. चाहे त्यो हिमालको होस्, पहाड होस्, त्यसमाथि हिमालमा चिसो ठाउँमा, हिउँ परेको ठाउँमा, अनि त्यो ठाउँमा त्यसरी चाहिँ 5 weeks सम्म त्यो हिमालको चाहिँ त्यत्रो यात्रा गर्नु भने that is really what adventurous. Writing छ, write a travelogue of your recent visit to a natural religious place in about 300 words. कुनै पनि ठाउँको बारेमा 300 शब्दमा चाहिँ religious or natural place visit गरेको बारेमा लेख भनेको छ. कुन जुनसुकै ठाउँ हुन सक्छ, लुम्बिनी हुन सक्छ, पोखरा हुन सक्छ, हैन, गोर्खा हुन सक्छ, अथवा कुनै मुक्तिनाथै हुन सक्छ. अनि त्यहाँको चाहिँ लोकल कस्ट्युम्स ट्रेडिसन कस्तो छ, कुइजानहरु के छ, त्यहाँको चाहिँ विशेषताहरु, खानेकुराहरु, हैन, डिपिक्सन अफ प्लेस अफ इन्ट्रेस्ट के कुरा त्यहाँ छ, लोकल हिस्ट्री एन्ड कल्चर के हो, योर एडभेन्चर्स तिम्रो त फिलिङ कस्तो भयो, एडभेन्चर्स कस्तो भयो, प्राइस एन्ड ट्रान्सपोर्टेसनको बारेमा इन्ट्रोड्युस, यो सबै बारेमा चाहिँ लेखेर एउटा 300 वर्डमा चाहिँ एउटा ट्राभलग यस्तै हामीले पढे जस्तै बनाउने. अर्को राइट एन एसे इन अबाउट 500 वर्ड्स अन इम्पोर्टेन्स अफ टुरिज्म नेपाल. नेपालमा टुरिज्मको इम्पोर्टेन्स के छ? टुरिज्म इज वन अफ द मेन सोर्सेस अफ इन्कम. यो त सबैलाई थाहा छ नै छ. नेपाल इज one of the major tourist destinations in the world. However, less number of tourists are visiting Nepal. यो कुरा पनि थाहा छ नै छ. अब टुरिज्मको के महत्व छ? What are the importances of tourism? त्यो कुरा हामीले चाहिँ अलिक रिसर्च गरेर खोजेर यो बारेमा लेखौं. यो पनि as a homework भयो. Now we are in grammar section. ग्रामरमा चाहिँ हामीलाई यहाँ एक्टिभ भोइस र प्यासिभ भोइस छ. अब एक्टिभ भोइस र प्यासिभ भोइस, these are not new topics for us. In class 9, 10 also you had studied about these grammars. So briefly, quickly discuss गर्ने छु. अब एक्टिभ सेन्टेन्सहरु, प्यासिभ सेन्टेन्स के एक्जाम्पल दिएको छ यहाँ है. They destroyed the building which is subject verb to object. यो फर्ममा छ. यसको प्यासिभ कस्तो हुन्छ? The building was destroyed भनेको object plus was plus verb 3 verb. Are they meeting him at the station? यो चाहिँ एक्चुअली verb छ, सब्जेक्ट छ, verb plus object. यो भनेको is am plus verb. यो प्रेजेन्ट कन्टिन्युअस टेन्स भयो. यसको प्यासिभ चाहिँ is he being met at the station? Is he being met at the station? भनेको एक्चुअली verb plus object plus being plus verb 3 verb. She handed me the plate. यो चाहिँ पहिलो एक्जाम्पल सँग मिल्छ, सब्जेक्ट verb to object. Object 1 object, यहाँ दुईटा object छ. She handed me the plate. Me object 1 भयो, the plate object 2 भयो. यसको प्यासिभ दुईटा हुन्छ है. I was handed the plate पनि भयो. अर्को the plate was handed to me. फर्स्ट अब्जेक्टलाई लिने हो भने चाहिँ I was handed the plate हो. सेकेन्ड अब्जेक्ट लियो भने चाहिँ the plate was handed to me गर्नु पर्यो. अर्को I enjoyed taking the children to the park. Subject plus enjoyed plus verb 4 साइजमा verb ing जेरन भयो चाहिँ the children enjoyed being taken to the park. Object plus enjoyed being यो verb 3 verb. They agreed to postpone the meeting. यो agreed to हुँदाखेरि हामीले चाहिँ it was agreed to postpone the meeting गर्नु पर्यो. I don't like people laughing at me. यसको चाहिँ I don't like being laughed at. यो पनि यो जेरन नै पर्छ. She likes people taking her photograph. यसमा चाहिँ अब she likes having her photograph taken. यसमा चाहिँ यो अब्जेक्ट फोकस भयो चाहिँ त्यही भएर चाहिँ ह्याभिङ गर्नुपर्छ है. Who built the Taj Mahal? Who plus verb plus object छ. Who was the Taj Mahal built by? अथवा who plus was plus object plus verb plus by. यो स्ट्रक्चर फलो गर्नुहुन्छ है. ओके, अब यहाँ के छ भन्दाखेरि यहाँ दुईटा कुरा हामीले बुझ्नुपर्ने हुन्छ. एक्टिभ भोइस र प्यासिभ भोइसको स्ट्रक्चर के हुन्छ? कमन फर्मुला के भन्दाखेरि एक्टिभमा सब्जेक्ट सधैँ अगाडि आउँछ अथवा एजेन्ट आउँछ अनि verb भने अब्जेक्ट हुन्छ. प्यासिभमा जहिले पनि के हुन्छ? अब्जेक्ट अगाडि आउँछ, त्यसपछि बी भर्बको प्रयोग गर्नुपर्छ, verb 3 प्रयोग गर्नु पर्यो. अनि by plus subject agent गर्नु पर्यो भनेको प्यासिभमा के हुन्छ be verb र verb 3 चाहिँ हुनै पर्छ है be verb and verb 3 are a must to form a passive sentence be verb र verb 3 भनेर passive sentence भन्न सक्दैन Let me discuss a bit clearly with examples and structures. Active form मा हामीले भवन भफाइ को एक्टिभ फर्म भवन भफाइ हो भने प्यासिभ फर्म यसैको प्यासिभ फर्म चाहिँ इजेमा प्लस भर्ब थियो जस्तो he writes a letter त्यसपछि के हो a letter is written by he writes भफाइ भयो त्यसपछि अब्जेक्ट चाहिँ a letter आयो त्यसपछि is written हुनु पर्यो त्यसो बी भर्ब चाहिँ is भयो they write two letters को two letters are written two letters plural भएपछि आर गर्नु पर्यो written गर्नु पर्यो Verb to he wrote a letter ko a letter was written. They wrote two letters ko two letters were written. ऐसे गर्नु पर्यो verb to हुँदाखेरि was plus verb गर्नु पर्यो अनि has have had plus verb छ भने have has had plus been plus verb गर्नु पर्यो he has written a letter has been written they have written two letters have been written किन यो two letters भने plural त्यसले have गर्नु पर्यो and she had written a letter had been written verb next मा इजेमा प्लस verb छ भने इजेमा प्लस being plus verb गर्ने He is writing a letter. A letter is being written. They are writing two letters. Two letters are being written. I am writing a letter. A letter is being written. Well, this is was plus verb. Was plus being plus verb. For example, they मात्र यहाँ चाहिँ अब being या पनि being हुन्छ. Was or where मात्र फरक भयो. Shall will plus भवन मा shall will plus be plus verb 3. Be plus verb 3 गर्नु पर्यो. So he will write a letter. A letter will be written. We shall write two letters. Two letters shall be written. त्यसपछि shall will plus have plus verb 3 छ भने shall plus have been plus verb 3 गर्नु पर्यो he will have written later or later will have been written गर्नु पर्यो त्यस्तै can may must have to plus भगवान छ भने can may must have to be plus verb 3 गर्नु पर्यो he can write a letter or later can be written verb अनि late बाट सुरु भएको छ late plus agent plus भगवान plus object भने late plus object plus be plus जस्तो अब let me write a letter let or later be written अर्को write a letter भगवान plus object let a letter be written same भयो Don't write the letter. Don't plus woman plus object. Let or later not be written गर्नु पर्यो. Please kindly do plus woman object छ भने you are requested to plus woman plus object गर्ने. Please write later. You are requested to write a letter. Kindly write a letter. Do write a letter. सबैको के हुन्छ you are requested to write a letter. त्यसपछि actually verb subject main verb object छ भने अब actually verb object भनेको क्वेशनमा छ भने क्वेशनमा हामीले प्यासिभ बनाउनु पर्छ के. Does he write a letter क्वेशनमा छ नि अब त्यसको प्यासिभ is a letter written यो does he भने यो present simple present tense भयो त्यही भएर is a letter written गर्नु पर्यो do they write two letters are two letters written did he write a letter was a letter written यसरी did भएको कारणले was आयो यहाँ do does भएको कारणले is are आयो हैन यो कुरा ख्याल गर्नु पर्यो is he writing a letter is a letter being written can he write a letter can a letter be written यसरी ws word ws question छ ws question मा हामीले चाहिँ प्यासिभ बनाउने जस्तो who is writing a letter who is a letter being written by who wrote a letter Who was a letter written by? यसरी हामीले चाहिँ प्यासिभ बनाउनु पनि हुन्छ अब let's do the exercise here यो बी नम्बरको letters अब के हुन्छ letters by the postman every day letters are delivered गर्नु are delivered present tense मा हामी चाहिँ every day भन्छ present tense त्यसमा चाहियो the letters are delivered by the postman every day the bag in the post yesterday past tense आयो the bag was found. The bag was found in the bus yesterday. The gate at 7 p.m. every evening. Your regular action word. The gate is locked. The gate is locked at 7 p.m. every evening. I to the party last week. The last I see past tense. I was invited to the party last week. The telephone by Graham Bell. The telephone was invented. Telephone was invented by Graham Bell. By Muna Madan, you past. Muna Madan was written by Deporta. How much money was stolen? When you passed by shake action, how much money was stolen in the robbery? Do you know cheese? Do you know cheese is made from? Cheese is made from milk. Why? I was born in Kathmandu, but was grown in. I was born in Kathmandu, but was grown in. So this is the way of writing answers. Now we have one more exercise. Let's complete that as well. Okay, just a minute. Change the following sentences into passive. We have to make the passive sentences of these following sentences. अब यहाँबाट हामी गर्छौं. I didn't. अब यतापटि सर यही गर्दै मैले. Okay. Just a minute. I did not fix the problem. The problem, your pastor wasn't fixed. The problem wasn't fixed. The problem wasn't fixed. Police protected the town. Number B go. The town is protected. The ROT is protected by police. The town is protected by police. Number C, John's mother raised him in a small town. So after he our past months, he was raised in a small town. By John was raised in a small town by his mother. His mother. Okay. Number D. Someone painted the building last year. The building was painted last year. Someone by someone. The building was painted last year. Number E. Alexander Fleming discovered penicillin in 1920. Past penicillin. Yes, my object is PENICI. Penicillin was discovered, DISCOVER, discovered in 1928 by this specific name, Alexander Fleming. Write that name, okay? Number F, some students study grammar on the internet. This one object is grammar. Grammar is studied, STUDI, studied on the internet. On the internet by some students. Number Z, someone had broken the window by 3 p.m. The window is my kids had been broken by 3 p.m. 3 p.m. This is the answer. Number G go. Number our H go. The window had been broken by 3 p.m. by someone. Number H go. A strange man was watching us. This one I was like, we were being watched by a strange man. So we were being watched. Tokyo will hold the Olympics in 2020. The Olympics will be held in 2020 by Tokyo. Okay. This particular number J go. We are working on the report right now. The report is being worked on. The report is being worked on right now. Okay, the report is being worked on right now. Number J, number K, my manager has told him to arrive earlier. He has been told to arrive earlier. To arrive earlier by his manager. By my manager. By my manager. He has been told to arrive earlier by my manager. This particular number J, K, L, L number. They could not have made the mistakes. The mistakes couldn't couldn't have been made. They could not have made the mistake. The mistakes couldn't have been made. Couldn't have been made. Number L, number M. Well, I hope they are going to hire me soon. It's going to myself. I am going to be hired soon. I hope. I hope I'm going to be hired soon. Let me just reduce the size. I'm going to be hired soon. Okay. And number one, I don't like people staring at me. Okay. I don't like being stared at. I don't like being stared at. Number Oma, she likes people waving at me, at her. She likes being waved at. She likes being waved at. Who told you the story? Who was the story told by? Who was the story told by? Your number P. Well, who was the story told by? Who was the story told by? Do we have any questions or not? Just let me see. Or a Q number, Q number question. Question. Is he repairing the bicycle? Is he repairing the bicycle? Isko answer huncha. Is the bicycle B-I-C-Y-C-L? Is the bicycle being repaired? Is the bicycle being repaired? This is the way of writing answer. Enlargement. Wait a minute. Okay. So the problem wasn't fixed. The town is protected by police. The John was raised in small town by his mother. The building was painted. Okay. So I hope there are no mistakes, typing mistakes. You have to ignore that. Okay. Thank you so much for your participation. This much for today. Thank you very much.